Rev up your engines! One of my viewers contacted me and said, Scotty, I don't believe it. I'm here in Nashville. I went to the Ford dealer with my truck, and they said they're going to charge me $155 per hour for working on my truck. He asked me if that's normal. I said, well, it is today. I've seen some place in California charge $250 an hour for working on Mercedes or Porsches. They have insane overheads, millions of dollars. The mechanic who's fixing your car doesn't really get paid all that much. He gets a small fraction of the bill. The main profit goes to the dealership itself. Secretaries, salesmen, insurance, you end up paying for it. That's why I make these videos, to help everybody out so they don't have to shell it $155 an hour or more and be cheated on how many hours it actually took to fix it and find out the car's not fixed anyways. There's actually a lot of things you can do on your car, and today I'm going to show you the most common mistakes people make, simple repairs that can keep you from spending a fortune, or if your car isn't running right, how to fix it as low priced as possible. Now, to begin with, don't get suckered into, well, I'll go to a discount auto parts store, they have discount prices. No, they don't. And here's an example. I bought these cleaners at Advance Auto just to show you the price difference. Carburetor cleaner, brake cleaner, right? $14.53 for the two of them combined. You think these discount auto parts stores have discount prices? Think again. Normally, I go down the street to a Walmart, but I bought these just to show the price difference. At the Walmart, I could get brake cleaner and I could get carburetor cleaner together for $4.53. That was $14. That is an insane markup these stores have. The same thing goes for batteries, oil filters. Do like I do. You want to get it quick, go to a Walmart. I saw a battery at a discount auto parts store. This one happened to be an AutoZone. It was $159. The same cranking amp battery at Walmart I could have gotten for $70. What a differential. And they generally have pretty good oil prices at Walmart and filters, but I go even further with that. I buy my oil and oil filters on Amazon ahead of time, find the best deal, and order 2 or 3 of them for all my cars so I have a supply. And here's a real tip. Don't always go for the lowest price. You want quality. For example, I change oil and filters. I always buy a top-end filter. They filter better and they last longer. Realize the low-end filters are only rated for 3,000 miles. Most people will change their oil between 5,000 and 10,000 miles. Those filters don't work. But you go to the discount auto parts store, they'll be $13, $14 for a filter. You can get them for $3, $4, $5 on Amazon at different places. Don't be stuck into the convenience store racket of discount auto parts stores that are on every corner. They're just marking it up too much. Don't pay too much for a filter when you're going to use them. Buy 3 or 4 of them at a time and store them in your garage. You know, a lot of people think cars are too complicated. I can't figure out how to fix them well. Let me show you something that was made just for people who want to learn. This book, How to Use Automatic Diagnostic Scanners by Tracy Martin. He's a technical writer. He wrote it for people, not just mechanics. He explains it. Nice diagrams, which by the way he did them himself because he said the professional guys wanted too much. So it's actually done by somebody who wants to make it that you would understand in very simple terms. He shows different types of scanners, how they work, how to analyze stuff in simple English. It gets basic stuff, more complex stuff. Maybe you're not going to go get a freeze frame oscilloscope and do analysis of waveforms, right? He shows you how you can do some of that. You might want to get a scan tool and see, what can I actually do myself to fix my own car? You'd be amazed at the stuff you can do yourself with the $50 to $100 scan tool. Starts from the very beginning, when cars just had carburetors, goes all the way through to GDI systems, gasoline direct injection. You can actually fix quite a few things yourself with a little reading. You got an old car that's OBD1, a real old one. He shows you how to use test lights to get information out of them. Hey, it's a very interesting book. No matter how far you want to go, it is a great beginning book. You might say, I really want to learn about waveform analysis. Yeah, then you go a lot further, but maybe you just want to see all these codes, what could it be, how do these systems work? Then you can't get ripped off by a mechanic who just, oh, my check engine light's on, I don't know what's wrong. No. You get the code, you get the analytics and say, well, you know, I could be this or this, I understand that, what's your take on it? And they'll see, this guy's not an idiot. We can't just pull a fast one on him. He knows too much. You go in and your check engine light's on, you just say, oh, my check engine light's on, I don't know what's wrong with my car. No, you want to have some knowledge when you go in. And speaking of test lights, you can easily learn how to use a test light. In this case, it's called Go Diag, like Go Diagnostic. This is a $50 tool, and it's worth its weight in gold. To begin with, it's got a giant cable, so you can work anywhere on the car. You hook it up to the battery, and you can walk anywhere. Work on the back, the front, the side. It's truly amazing the technology they have in one of these little testers. Back in the day, these things cost hundreds of dollars. This thing's $50 now on Amazon. It has leads for checking fuel injectors. As you can see, it tests things easily. Put it on, shows that's 12.3 volts. That's a good ground. This one's interesting because when you push this button, you can actually test the amp output of a device. Cool thing like this, it really works. Now let's say, well, I don't know anything about electricity. Well, here we go with Tracy Martin again. And this guy isn't paying me to say this. I searched high and low for stuff that regular people can use. And some of his stuff, it was hard to find. So just one guy doing this stuff, and there's not that much money in publishing books. I know I published a book, there's no money in it really, but he really knows what he's doing. And a book like this, it starts with the basics of electricity, which never change, and then shows how to analyze cars. Now realize this, yes, cars are getting more and more and more complex and more electronic stuff's being added to them. But electricity does not change. The laws of physics are the laws of physics. You get this knowledge, it's going to be useful forever. He shows you how to read wiring diagrams, how to do tests. Shame that many people don't read anymore, but let me tell you, this isn't just reading. Blah, 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 right? Pages of words, blah, blah, blah. Look, most of it is reading and diagrams that explain it. He has so many diagrams and pictures that this is kind of like a picture book with words that explain what's going on. Things that anybody can understand if they want to. Now, I find many people have problems with electrical repairs for one big reason. They can't see the electricity. But with tools like this, you see the readout, which is the same as seeing the electricity. And once you understand it, reading a book like that, you can actually do quite a few repairs yourself. For example, you want to see what your alternators are putting? Well, go to the alternator, touch the probe on the power wire, and let's put it out 14.6 volts on the top. And this particular tool also comes with a bunch of wires and adapters so you can check all kinds of things. And if you don't know that much about electricity, believe me, you get this book for 20-something bucks, you can learn a lot. These guys are charging $155 an hour plus to work on your car. And with electrical work, since nobody can see it, they say, well, we don't know how many hours it's going to take. We're just going to have to work at it until we find out what's wrong. Finding out what's wrong electrically is generally the hardest part. Replacing the parts is nothing. Oh, it's this part, replace it, right? But you got to figure it out. If you're paying somebody $155 an hour, it behooves you to buy a $50 tool and a $20 book and learn as much as you can. Devices like this are great because you can see it's 12.4 volts. That's the battery charge. But when you're testing, this reads whatever the voltage is. So let's say you're testing a computer circuit and it's only a 5-volt reference circuit. This will say 5 volts, and you'll know never apply 12 volts to that 5-volt circuit or you'll ruin it. The old-fashioned test lights, they were just lights. You got 12 volts to them, you turned them on, it could fry a 5-volt circuit. This will read it. You'll know what voltage you're dealing with. You think maybe this alternator doesn't put out enough amps. Well, you push the little button here and it'll test the amps to see how many amps are coming out of it. And you can use it to see how many amps fan motors using, fuel pumps, all kinds of stuff. Get a little knowledge and save yourself a small fortune. Here's the biggest mistake people make, and that is not starting simple and working your way up. Oh, I think I need a computer in my car. That's the last thing you would put in. You always test the basic things first. And in that respect, always check the battery first on any modern car. Things run by computer these days. So, speaking of electronics, watch how easy it is to test. It's just a scan tool. It's got a battery test. Battery test, there it is. Turn on headlights. Headlights are on. Continue. Here it goes. It's testing the battery. Takes 20 seconds. Turn on headlights. Turn the lights on. Now it takes 20 seconds to analyze stuff. Then you turn off the headlights. Turn them off. Then we continue. Powered engine one time. That shows the battery's fine, so there's nothing wrong with this battery. I already knew that, it's a new battery, but if it was bad, it can destroy all the electronic flow not work right and you get codes. I've seen people spend $2,000 having a car worked on and no one can figure out what's wrong. They bring it to me and all the car needed was a new battery. Or an alternator, you want to test that while you're testing the battery. If your battery shows normal, odds are the charging system's working because it charges it up, right? It's a good idea to test the alternator at the same time because sometimes alternator diodes go bad and they actually overcharge and can ruin things. It's a simple test. It takes a minute, just like the battery test, because if you have something wrong in the charging system, if things run by computers, you can get all kinds of problems because either the battery or the alternator is bad, and you can easily replace those things yourself at a good price. Go to a garage. They're going to buy a battery for $60. They're going to charge you $160 for it. Other simple things. Check your air filter. A clogged air filter will make your car run like crap. All right, a customer recently failed an emissions test. It was a Honda. The only thing wrong was the air filter was all clogged up. I put a new one in, drove it around, then it passed the test. It can be that simple. And the same thing with spark plugs. All spark plugs eventually wear out. The gap where they fire gets larger. As it gets larger, it needs more power to make it fire. Now, strangely enough, modern cars often use these iridium spark plugs. I've seen them go 200,000 miles and they're still working, but I would change it before then because as the gap expands, it takes more energy to fire the plug. That strains the electronic ignition system. I've seen the systems burn out because they were being strained by worn out spark plugs. Look, this only has 4. You can change them in 20 minutes. You just need a spark plug wrench, a socket. That's all you need. It's very easy to do. Watch my videos. And if you've never done it, check them. I'd say even with iridium, I don't care. I'd still change them once every 100,000 miles. It's not that big of a deal. And even though it may be running okay, worn out plugs can insidiously start wearing everything else out and cost you a fortune later. Spend a little bit of money now doing it yourself. Simple things are often the only problem. And always look around to save money. The original headlamps on the Matrix look like crap. They were all fogged out. I went aftermarket 6 years ago. $50 a piece for these beautiful looking dark headlamp assemblies. Much better looking than the original Toyotas. They're lasting longer, they're not fogging up. $213 at the dealer. I paid $50 for these. And they look better and they've lasted longer. So really don't pay somebody $155 an hour to work on your car if you don't need to. You can learn with books. And this guy Tracy Martin writes some pretty good books. Anybody can understand it. You don't need to be a mathematician or professional mechanic. So if your car's acting up, just go, oh, I gotta take it to the dealer, oh, they're gonna take me for a ride. You gotta figure some things out yourself first. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.